I set it for 10:30, but all's well. I was finishing up my workout and I'm done now, so I couldn't skip a step just to come on live. But the market right now seemingly looks like it's putting in a sneaky bullish reversal for anybody who's been kind of sitting around here for the last 45 minutes. At the very least, at least you could see it in the title, what my thinking was. As you came into this live, I simply put XRP bullish sneaky reversal started. Can XRP BEAK, which is supposed to say break, over $2. Signal wave for expansion. Bitcoin, Ethereum rally. So you can see where I was aimed at this morning. We talked about it yesterday that we shouldn't be worried. It looked like a validation on a back test. Now, we don't know if this is going to play true. We don't know if this is going to end up continuing out or if this is just a quick end of the year, make us feel good. We're technically going through, what is it, the last trading day? Wait a minute, let me make sure I speak factually here because so many holidays.
For the upcoming New Year's holiday, the last trading day for both the US stock market and the futures market is Wednesday, December 31st, 2025. However, the hours differ significantly between the two. Here is the breakdown for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
So we've got 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
NYSE.
Okay. So tomorrow will be open till 4 p.m. in the stock market. I was just making sure. Just making sure. So yeah, good things should be coming here at least at the end of the year. Anybody who was tax harvesting, they're likely done with that by now. There's the 1 day and one. There's the 24-hour plus one rule if you ever do a harvesting. So people won't be buying or selling on the 1st. They got to wait till the 2nd. And then most people aren't waiting until the 31st for kind of similar. Anyhow, I don't want to get into that. But right now it looks like we did a nice little back test here. We've been talking about a lot of wave 5 possible or wave 4 push outs. And I've refined what I've been doing during this consolidation to where I'm more refined into certain tokens and a little heavily invested in certain tokens compared to others. And like anyone that has too much volatility, I'm not going in on KRAKEN. So I kept it pretty simple. But I am definitely a lot heavier than I've been in a long time in HBAR, XLM, XDC, yes, but I think if you're looking at XDC, you're still probably waiting for a back test here if you haven't got in yet, so it's not as urgent. But then again, it could bounce out of here. But even if the rest of these bounce, I still would like to see a back test down here on this pattern breakout on XDC to give us that further push out to 5.5. But who knows? We'll see how that plays out. I like where VeChain's at right now, significantly undervalued. Even though the problem is here when you're looking at, just make sure that you understand that if this is a wave 4 expansion, once we push out here, if we make 10, 15, 30, 40% in some cases, you've got to be aware that wave 5 contraction, and I'm going to continue to harp on this, would bring us lower than we started on this 4th wave or the 3rd wave down likely. So that's something that I consider during this little rally here. But I still think we should have if this plays out properly, it should be a 3 to 5 week minimum rally to where we should have some upside pressure as the market exhausted itself to the downside. So I made it pretty simple on myself. I've been watching HBAR, did this inverse pattern. I've been talking about being in and getting deeper. For this possible move back up, and just because it's something that's deeper into the well, you have to look it up yourself. I can't give you all of the details in one session, but I want to see if this is in fact a breakdown or if this is a inverse, almost like an inverted hammer candle that started, and we had that quick pull down, and now you'd get that sneaky reversal almost simultaneously, and then by the end of the day we should break past yesterday's high and start pushing towards this 200-day to try to see what we're doing. That's what I personally feel like is going to happen. Whether or not this actually plays true or not, who knows with crypto. But we'll get into this a little deeper in a minute. Good morning. 11:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, December 30th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So I thank everybody for tuning in. Let's see. I gotta go grab one thing. Somebody's like, you better wear your hat during the live one time. Now, the problem is I have to put it inverted. Otherwise, you won't be able to see it, which is why my hat was on upside down in the video. See? This is the one that I had on. But I have to put it upside down, otherwise, I guess, let's see how it looks if I put it this way. You just, you'll just have to obviously see it from an inverted standpoint, but that's okay. We're here to have a little bit of a smile this morning. Let's see with my big head if this will even fit on this one. Yes, and please hit that like button while we're settling in. See, otherwise it looks like that. So you can't really see it. It's backwards, you know? So that's why I put it inverted. But I'm going to have to dig into this. So what are my thoughts on Monad? No thoughts. No thoughts. I don't have any thoughts because I don't know enough. D Billy, thanks for the 99-cent super chat with the popcorn. Love it. Thank you so much for that, my friend. Dan Marginal, good morning, along with Garbanzo. Thanks for being in town for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Let's see. John Bugathorpe, good morning. If we get wave 4, what percentage up do you think? There's no way to say a percentage. Just let it flow. I don't know. Maximum, maybe 30 to 40%. If we got the right push. But that's, you know, it depends what token too. It all depends. Look what Epic did. Epic's up from the bottom, you know, a good 50-60% now. So there's no way of really knowing, but definitely could get that kind of movement if you got on the right side of it. Defined and Crypto Cooter, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Zone for 6+ months with the XP Predictor and being very trusted mods in here and in the Telegram. Good morning, Crypto Cooter, and Define says, hey everyone, hit that like on the way and consider subscribing and joining Tom's Zone for the best technical analysis on YouTube. Every day you are not in the Telegram, you are missing out. Why wait? And we haven't had a new member in the Telegram in quite some time. We've been stuck at 497 members, so, you know, the influence isn't hitting as hard. Or there's just less people in the space right now, which is actually probably what's going on, if we're being real. But that's, you know, it's neither here nor there. Still like to see growth, whether it's a slow market or not. Mark Caston and Glenn Barlow, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Good morning all. Tom brings some joy to the market. Click the like button, guys. Glenn from England. Welcome in, mate, from England on the other side of the pond. Hopefully, you know, we can preach it into existence that we should have some kind of bullishness here, just from a standard of where we're even at. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see. Jay for Mix, welcome in. Said I'm holding Linnea, waiting to see what happens. Yes, that's part of my buy on this particular movement here, as I've talked about. So I am on board with you there. Carlos, welcome in. What are the odds XRP will go up in the spring? I wouldn't be looking at the spring. You got the whole winter, and you got 3 months before then. I would focus on what's going to happen here rather than the spring. Because why not say, well, what are the odds going up in spring? What about fall? Well, the odds are we don't know. That's it. There's 0% way to answer that question until we see if this wave 4 expands out, or if we continue contracting on wave 3 and we find ourselves even deeper in the hole. Ask me after we figure this out whether we're in expansion or contraction here. We don't know yet, but I feel like we're in an expansion. It's just taking its sweet old time. But with the volume portfolio and with what's going on in crypto, I'll never say anything's 100%. And I'm not a financial advisor, so it's only our best guess here. It's only a theory, by the way, the Elliott wave. So, you know, we can theoretically talk about this micro fourth wave, but it is still just a theory. So until we figure this particular movement out, I can't answer that with any kind of formidable and technological fact. So I'm not going to answer it. Otherwise, I'd just be, you know, for lack of a better word, tickling your balls to make you feel good. Lori, welcome in, and thanks for being a very trusted member in here, and also for sharing your time with us for so long here. This new, especially in 2025, it did get cold, cold. We got snow back. We got up to 55. Well, we lost power yesterday from it, but it went from it was cold 24 when we woke up, went all the way to 55. Storms, raining. You know, it was just storming. High winds, and then by the time we woke up, it went from 55 at midnight. We lost power, and then sometime during the day we got it back. And then when we woke up at 4 a.m., or well, we were up, but once it hit 4 a.m., it was already back to like 25 degrees. So it went from 55 to 25 in 4 hours, which was fun. Knocked our power out for a little bit too, but at least today we have it. Let's see. Totally awesome. Good morning. D. Billy, once again, thanks for the 99-cent super chat and the popcorn. I greatly appreciate that. Jordan Junkie, good morning. Frankie Fresh, welcome in. And thanks for being in town during 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Tell Janine, good morning, and I hope you're doing well, Janine, if you're watching. And Frankie, I hope your hand is improving even more today than it was yesterday. Frankie Fresh says, yeah, everybody's hurting a little bit, Frankie. Depending on where you bought in, that's for sure. But remember, this is a good lesson in the market, too. If you bought in on big rallies or things like that, now you've seen it contract, it's a good lesson to be buying it on the contraction phases rather than the expansion phases. And it's always a good idea to try to find a formidable area of accumulation, which, where this market's at right now, it seems like we're pushing in that way. And we've been in a bear market for a long time. So everybody who's just getting on board saying we're in a bear market, I hate to break it to everybody. The alts have been in a bear market since basically January. Yes, we had a nice little fake out back to the top side. Didn't make new highs. XRP might have tapped a new high and then just fell right through as a double top. But we've been in a bear market for a long time. So now when everybody's starting to say, hey, we're in a bear market, it's like, where have you guys been? We are in a bear market. We've been in a crypto winter for a while. Yeah, just because we went through the summer and everybody had a big smile doesn't mean that anybody made money. Just because they acted like everything was going fine in crypto doesn't mean it was. So we had a little bit of a short rally with Bitcoin, and then it dropped, 35%? So, yeah, it might have looked good in Bitcoin, but in every other asset, it was not a crypto bull market. XRP is doing very well compared to the rest, as we keep talking about. We continue to give XRP some grace when nobody else will, because it's done remarkably well, going from a bear market, hitting an all-time high, consolidating right now within the 2021 high. Think about that. We're consolidating within the range of the 2021 bull market run up of 9 days. Believe it or not, that was the bull market for XRP. But we're consolidating within that range. That is a huge bullish signal going forward if we do this wave count properly. The problem is, if you don't do it properly, that means it's not validated, and that means we just didn't have enough strength. So the title is what it is. We talked about, is there a sneaky reversal, or the sneaky reversal that could be started? But then we also talk about, within the title itself, it has to get over $2 for this expansion. If not, anything under $2 on a rejection here, and losing $1.75, I'm telling you, that is a extreme warning signal if that happens. It's an extreme warning signal. Extreme. Right now, I'm very happy to see what Bitcoin's doing. We're in the 4-hourly. We've pushed out. We got plenty of room after bottoming out yesterday. And we've back tested. We're trying to back test the move out from the last candle. Everything that I'm seeing right now is absolutely prototypical. We should be coming back up here. And this time around, if it does this properly, we shouldn't get stopped right there this time around on the 200-day. We should push past it, break past this resistance and this ascending almost wedges. It's like an ascending wedge almost, but it's not. It's like I guess you could call it like an ascending triangle. But technically where it's at in this part of the pattern, this would be a continuation out of this to try to hit the rejection point to see if we're in a bearish consolidation, which should bring us up to 93. So this should be a bullish consolidation in the micro within this ascending wedge or ascending triangle on this back end in this micro, which should lead us into the macro bearish rejection if it is rejected, or it can break us out of this little bit more of, it's not a macro, but more of a macro push up to 93.3. This is what I'm seeing. Now, if we break down from here, then we come back to where I circled it, and that would be a problem if you break through. But we've already tested it here, resistance, resistance. No, third resistance would be here, buy resistance, sell resistance, buy support. Sell resistance, buy support. Sell resistance, buy, until the pattern breaks out or breaks down. So right now you'd be riding it up still from this buy right here. You'd be riding it up to a minimum of 93,000 just based on the factual movements that we're talking about here within the pattern. You need to know the micro and then the even deeper pattern so you can see what kind of consolidation it is within. So that's giving us a lot. But yeah, that's one of the things. Speaking of theory, switch probably wouldn't happen until after silver and gold first moon. Just my theory. What do you mean switch? Like the flip of a switch? I don't believe in a flip of a switch. I believe they flip the switch constantly. If that's what you're speaking of. But I don't know if that's what you're speaking of. But I don't believe in any flip of the switch. I believe it happens in real time. So when everybody's waiting for the flip of the switch, it's actually being pushed down and pushed up as we're speaking. That's why you're having a flip of the switch, so to say, even though that's probably not what you're talking about. But I like that you said that, because it can get me into this. But let's see. Yeah, but I think they're constantly flipping the switch, and that's why in the monetary policy, while a lot of people are waiting, sitting on the sidelines, they've seen gold and silver just go ridiculously surging. Same thing with the miners. Yeah, we had a correction yesterday, and we'll continue to correct and go up and come down, but those are what you need in a healthy bull market. You have big corrections and then even bigger movements up after. But it's a constantly evolving. It's constantly evolving. And you're seeing the flip of the switch as the monetary policy flips back into sound money. Real money. Not fake money. Not fake paper. But this is why I continue to emphasize the fact that until we break out, if we at any time lose that $1.75 on XRP, you freaking better pay attention to that. Because that is a very bearish signal. And I have no doubt we're going down farther after this is over. Zero question. Unless we get some kind of bullish macro momentum, which I'm just not seeing right now. I have no doubt if we expand out, it would go back down. So this is all theoretical. Somebody said something that I really liked. I Hustle Harder Than You says, telling you guys that fractal and patterns have been replaying and wrecking late entry shorts and longs, but that's the plan, the dump or pump. This is my bet, is still double bottom at $1.77 or $1.56. I love it. That's the exact range that I love. That's why I love that. Because $1.77, which is hit, and then if we come back down there and we bottomed, or if it breaks that and it goes to $1.56, I love that both ways. I love that both ways. And I will leave you with this too. I'm not going nowhere, but I want to read this, something I put on Facebook, because it's very relevant to right now. So the difference between a pro and an amateur, one word, confirmation. We've all been there. You see the price piercing a key resistance level, the FOMO kicks in and you jump in head first. Then the candle closes, leaving a long wick behind and you're stuck in a fake out. The before looks like a dream, but the after shows the reality of a bearish rejection. The key takeaways: wait for the close, never trade a candle that is still moving. Volume matters, look for high volume to support the breakout. Retest is king. Sometimes the safest entry is waiting for the price to come back and test the previous resistance as new support. Stop chasing candles, start trading setups. And I love that, because on a bullish look, you would see something like that. And then on a bearish, if it ends up bearish after a fake breakout, you end up seeing something like that. So, you know, you would have a bullish mindset on the left and a bearish mindset on the right, even though technically nothing's even changed. You could even be getting a bullish retest of the breakout candle, and then it's going to be dependent on the next candle or two that come after that. So it's so simply and it's so easily how quick that can happen in a candle. So just, I would pay attention to that, honestly. I would think about that when you're trading, especially in volatile moments like right now. And then, like, this is something that, who came up with this? I put the name of it in the title. Power Law. They came up, or the Power Law Analysis came up with this, which who knows how real this is, but it's implying that Bitcoin's average, the price would be like at 119 if you have a small ratio. But then if you talk about it a little more compared, but then it talks about the monetary policy and how it would be in comparison if you had the Bitcoin price pushed on monetary policy or the Fed total assets. And then it goes all the way down in comparison. But I don't really like how they compare it to commodities because there's zero comparison to the commodities at all. They're just saying if you put it in terms of those. I just don't like when you put it in terms of commodities. But that still, nonetheless, it's nice to show that what somebody has put time into and what they're coming up with in the market. XRP 2024 and ZBCN 2025 both saved me personally. Thanks be to Tom. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Elder World Stage. Yeah, we did unbelievable on ZBCN for those rallies, and we got it from the bottom reversal. And it ended up being, I think it was either 5, 6, 7x. Then we got to ride it back and forth. The other one that saved me too during this bearish times was MXC. And I know it got delisted and everything, but we wrote it when we should, and we got rid of it well before the delisting. But that was a clear move from ZBCN after a rally. And we had a clean move when we sold out that trade and went right into MXC and then at 3. It was an unbelievable flip. Let's see. But yeah, thanks for being in Tom's under 3+ months with the XP Meteor All the World Stage. I appreciate that. I hustle harder than you. Thanks for the $1.99 super chat with the thumbs up. I love that they let you guys share some other pictures now with those super stickers. Keeps it a little creative in here. All I keep hearing about is this big switch must be huge. There's no such thing as a big switch. It happens in real time. So everybody waiting for the big switch. Oh, you're getting switched around right now. They're giving you the 5 shuffle knuckle right now. I'm telling you right now, you're in the middle of a monetary policy flip, and if you're not in gold and silver, you're missing it. While they focus you on crypto, I'm just saying the truth. This big switch, this digital flip. I always say it. There's a lot of money to be made in crypto when you buy in at the right time. But as we end up going into a cycle of the Great Depression, once over repeated and even worse, and our monetary policy continues to expand instead of contracting, and we continue to lower rates, and we continue to print money, it's already happening. The Great Deception's upon you. Buy crypto. Don't buy gold and silver. This is the new digital gold. Don't buy real sound money. Forget the companies that take it out of the ground. Buy crypto. Buy the mining companies that mine a fake token and uses energy for fake blocks. But yes, spend all your money on that for the big flip of the switch instead of the actual mining companies that pull the stuff out of the ground. You know, real stuff you need to use. Like think about Samsung going to be using kilo of silver for their new batteries. Yeah, those are the kind of things you want to invest in. Or, you know, gold and silver, real money. That's what you want to own. That's why you're getting whitewashed in crypto since January. That's why we can only try to hypothesize and prophesize about small moves that can happen on these little flips. And even if they happen, it'll just come right back down. That's why we always are afraid. So you have to watch the bailout if this comes back through. And I don't talk sinister like this about crypto for no reason. It's the truth. There's no such thing as a big flip of the switch. If there ever was, it happened in 2017. Just calling it for what it is. Look at the pricing. How can you have a flip of the switch? You mean the regulatory flip? I agree there's going to be a flip of the switch in crypto with regulation, with the Clarity Act, and with them putting biometrics and making it impossible for us to trade. If you're waiting for that flip of the switch, congratulations. We're almost there. But if you're talking about the flip of the switch for internal wealth, you've already missed the boat. It's over. You're not going to get that. It's happening in real time. XRP's already started. That started in the last bear market. You can say whatever we want to say, even if it goes down. It's down to $1.87, but do you feel any better if it costs you 18 grand instead of 3 grand to buy 10,000 tokens? So sometimes we just have to speak factually. Now, I still believe that we're going to have momentum up in crypto, but where does it go from? Where is the ultimate bottom if we go through the 5 waves down? Sure, 4 is expansion, but 5 means contraction further than 4 started. Where 3 ended, it's going to be worse. So, You know, I have a lot of optimism, but I also have a lot of doubt in this space as well, too, with all the regulation. See, what attracted to me this space was an unregulated market. You know what's happened in my last 5 years while being on YouTube almost? They've completely regulated this market. They've gutted it. They've gutted it. Now, if you want them in control like that, by all means, keep asking them to, you know, keep asking them to dress you, pants you, you know, keep telling them how to move your actual money. Have them do it all for you. You know, but me personally, I came into this space for unregulated market. I don't want to go in what we're seeing right now. It's a disaster. That's why we continuously get a price spiral down. If you think institutions are going to go into a market that's not quite regulated how they want it to be and they don't know the certainty when they have an unregulated market, but they can already go to have a fully regulated market that all things are in place where they're conveniently enough allowing us to buy crypto now through the stock market through ETFs and different companies. How you can buy MicroStrategy and be invested in Bitcoin. So if there's a big move up, MicroStrategy is going to move up with it. You can invest in BitMine or Bitwise. Or what is it? BitMine, Bitwise, whatever the hell they're called. Tom Lee's company, BitMine. You can invest in them. They're the world's largest Ethereum holder. They have the most Ethereum by percentage. So instead of investing in Ethereum and this crypto, you could go invest in BitMine and a stock company, even though it's technically a crypto trade. These are what the actual real institutions are doing. You think that's normal what OpenServe is doing? I'm not quite sure that that's normal. You know, what is that telling you? Liquidate the longs, liquidate the shorts. Liquidate the longs, liquidate the shorts. Look at the price. You would think it's exactly the same, but it's not because it moves after a while. Look at it. You think that's normal? Or do you think the trading bot's kind of in a loop? Think about it. Who the hell is this? Hello? In regards to who? Wait a minute, what? Dr. Crane? I don't know who that is. Oh, Korean. Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. Yes, it is. Yep. Yeah, we have to do it 3 months out because we're going to Grand Rapids. So we need to schedule it for 3 months out. They actually did our appointment in Grand Rapids on January 22nd. So we need to see them 3 months after that appointment because they have to look for a button change and size up. So we have to go out to Grand Rapids. Yes. Yep. They couldn't do the 12th anyhow. Okay. Yeah, so we can go out 3 months. Yeah. No. Yeah. We need to do it for 3 months after. Or actually, we usually do it March if you have it, because then we can do in between his next appointment out in Corwell from this one. No, we go to Corwell. No, because you guys, I'll just be honest with you, when we went, they almost killed our son down in this region, so we had to go to Grand Rapids. They did a very bad job. So, we only see Dr. Kareem when it comes to that. Well, it's not your fault. Kareem's a great guy. Yep. And the earliest appointment you have usually works out good. Like 8:30. That's fine. It's fine anytime through March. Even if it's in the middle of the week and it's at like a 9:30 or something, if you have it. That'll work. Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much. Yep. Yep. Happy New Year to you. Thank you very much. Yeah, Julie, they couldn't even get him in until a later. They said that they were canceling his appointment we had. I forgot we had one on the 12th. And they said March 4th, I believe, at 9 or 8:45. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. I was just I was involved in my son's he's got a G tube, so a lot of stuff has to be done with that. So anyhow, let's see. Remembered Fed minutes at 2 Eastern. I think wouldn't shock if we fake pump and the judge powerless crushes people's hopes and dreams. For sure. Bitcoin break 95K or go home. Bitcoin. I mean, I can't disagree with it, but right now we're looking at this little bit of volatility this morning. And where did XRP come from this morning? I can't remember where it was at when the morning started. I know that dropped like $1.84-ish. Yeah, $1.84. So I mean, it hasn't really done much. We just haven't done much. It's just it's in this strange liquidity area where the longer you hold this area as support, you start to tap that little bit higher liquidity. How we tapped 90,000 first for Bitcoin, then came back down. It's these areas are what's going to be able to build us to drop through eventually, which is the crazy part. Honestly. So, yeah, you got to go with Scar, don't you? Let's see.
He's still sleeping.
Yeah, I know. That's
You're
what
not talking loud.
Oh, I don't talk as loud now. It's just I can't help it. I talk lower now. Double bottom for XRP at $1.45 next year in the cards. I don't know what the $1.45 double bottom would be, unless you're talking about on particular exchanges that had a wick down on October 10th. Then I could see that area, but that's really not at that point. It's probably not going to be a hold of support point. If it breaks $1.57, I mean, you really could. Let's just put it this way: if we went down to $1.57 in an expanded microwave 3, and then we came up in wave 4 to like $2, maybe, you could very seriously be talking. Maybe not even $2. Maybe it only comes up to this level and gets rejected, or at $1.77, and then it hooks back down. I mean, there's a real scenario you could be talking under $1 if this played out in that scenario. Nobody wants to talk about that part of it, but that is on the table. I apologize. 12% of the people left when I was on the phone with my son's surgeon, but you know, what do you want me to do? You want me to skip it? Elmer, good morning. XRP LFG, I just heard from Jake Claver that. MQT, welcome in and thanks. What?
I started my car.
Thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor, along with My Yard Now and Maple Man. Thank you so much for that. And MQT, thanks for being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. I'd just be happy with some heat for now. Yeah, I noticed you were still out of power, MQ. I'm hopeful that it'll come back on, because that's no fun. And you got a lot of snow. You definitely got a lot of snow.
I just had them.
Let's see.
I started my car.
And John Bugathorpe, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Tom, what kind of drop in wave 5 after the move up on? There's no guarantee we move up on 4. But if we did move up on 4, I mean, the drop of 5 is going to bring you farther than $1.77. Beyond that, nobody really knows. If it played out in the perfect way. Now, like I keep saying, there's no guarantee we go up from here. If we go down from here, it's going to be a huge problem. I'm just being straight with everybody. If we go down from here, you're going to have to brace for a lot of impact here. And it's not going to be fun. It will not be fun. I feel like when I start regurgitating this point, nobody wants to stick around. So I try not to harp on it so much. And I try to speak more in a bullish fashion. But when I'm getting asked direct questions, I kind of have no choice but to answer it in the right way. Let's see. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Marcus. Head and Shoulders trying to form on the 4 hourly. Marcus said, don't ever apologize for taking care of your son. Amen to that. Lord of Drink. Head and shoulders, are you saying, in the 4 hour? It's definitely very possible with XRP. If this gets rejected here, you can absolutely see that. I was looking at that this morning too. Shoulder, head, and then if this comes across, technically that could be a shoulder. In the micro, we better hope not. But if it does break down here, you could see a clear line too, getting a rejection and coming all the way back down and kind of going, swinging around. And then if it were to hold, bounce out. But if you keep playing down this dark path, I mean, you start to get to it. You didn't find them?
I did.
Oh. You start to get... Oh. You start to get to an area where all of a sudden, you know, you start to... We're looking for some demand here, right? We're trying to find someone or something or for some reason for some volume to come in and start expanding us out. Well, right now what we're seeing, and it's a reason why I shared that picture on Facebook today with the description, was because everything, it might look good initially, but then before you know it, if you jump in on a candle, notice we didn't just, but this whole move, we jumped in effectively when the market was in this rotation. So we're trying to see if, well, most of it, we jumped in down here for this move, obviously, because we did it before my birthday. But just saying, you're riding it back, seeing the back test. So it's giving you the illusion here that everything's going the way it's supposed to, from this micro move up to the back test, the breakout, to back testing the move out, to starting to push out. Now it's trying to, if you're watching this in real, that looks like a fake out if you look at it in this regard, except for the fact we're trying to build volume. And the volume, we're just not getting that big push, but it's giving us the illusion, whether it's a fostering, a fake illusion or not, of a push to $2. I'm not making that up. That's what it's giving us. Whether it's a fake illusion, it's giving us the illusion of this back test here, and that's what you'd be planning for. First area rejection would be right there. We can't help that now all of a sudden the 200-day runs right into it. Gives us more of a reason to think it's going to come up there. But nothing's going to move up when you think it's going to move up. It's all going to look bearish, and then all of a sudden it's not. Or it's all going to look bullish, and then it's not. And it almost plays universally when you start looking through this. So XLM hasn't hooked back around yet. And in fact, it's dumping down here a little bit. But it's going to look like that in this kind of a setup until it doesn't. Now, we haven't quite come up to the 400 or the 200-day. We got rejected here. But we've come back down to this flat spot down here. So either we're going to fall off the cliff here, and we're going to find ourselves coming all the way back down to 18.8, or we're going to make a move out of this and a play out of this, and it's going to end up pushing up. Now, every chart's different, so like you can't just say XRP and look at the difference. XRP's reversed back up from this candle. It didn't look much different today's candle than XLM does right now, but now XRP's put in a little bit of almost a reversal in the daily candle if it ended like this. XLM, on the other hand, is fully to the downside. Now, they don't look that much different. Even this candle looks very similar for XRP and XLM. The only difference is this hasn't pulled back up and started to reverse it. Now, is it going to? Or is it XRP's out ahead? Is it doing its own thing? Or is XLM just slightly behind? You know, these are all the things that I like to talk about. I really wanted to get my class stuff out yesterday for signups, but with my power being out, it didn't happen. So I was a little bit behind. I couldn't even do my live last night the way I wanted to. So, you know, I tried to post stuff through Facebook and through the Telegram, but it's a lot different when you don't have good internet. Now it's back. But yeah, I don't know, some transformer blew and they had some equipment issues. So yeah, it's a whole big mess when stuff like that starts happening. But yeah, that's personally where my focus is right now. That's where my focus is at right now. Exactly what we're talking about. Trying to smell the sneaky reversal before it happens. And the only way to do that is to start playing the market in a certain way. So we're just playing it by pattern. We don't care about any of the noise. I don't care about any of the noise. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't watch anybody else about crypto to tell me what it's doing because they're all wrong. They don't know anything for the most part. I don't want to neglect somebody else, but most of the people are just on here to give you a ride so that you'll watch them, send them money, and do whatever you got to do without having a clue of what's really going on. And I know that because 95% of retail is losing money, which means 75% of those 95% don't even know what a chart is or how to look at it. So they're literally basing their decisions on somebody they're watching in social media. Well, it's unfortunate because every time you come across somebody like me, you come across 99 others that lie to you. So then you got to go find 99 others that are not like me to find another one like me. There's always going to be 1 in 100. That's who we are. We're the 1 in 100. So, you know, that's the problem right now. Who do we trust? Who do you trust? You trust the money. You follow the sound money. That's who you trust. You trust the chart. You trust your own understanding of what you're seeing. Who cares what somebody else says? Are they going to give you the money to trade too? No. Do they even know money, what it is? No, because everybody I see on YouTube tells you that crypto is a store of value like gold. It's the new digital gold. Like, what? On what planet? You mean a digital block that can be created by a supercomputer, that can be created by quantum physics and AI combined? You mean that digital block that's already being enhanced now? So in the future, we're not even going to know what's real and what's not? How do we even know if it's a real mineable block or not? Hey, there's already problems with that as we speak. So, I like to, you know, I like to do certain things. I never felt the XLM vibe. Jeb took the tech, but only 2/3 of it. XLM is Jeb's. No, it's not. Happy Fox, that is not true. There's actually a separation from XRP and XLM, and it was a agreed upon separation. And I had a conspiracy out years ago that I think is truer than what everybody else says. They separated because too much retail was interested in XRP, and there was too much of a buzz purposely. And they took that and they needed to make more money without the public realizing what they were doing to pay for their actual company. So they had a strategic plan. Jeb, here's X amount of XRP. You leave the company, and every month on routine you can take out X amount of dollars, which happens to be the exact amount, or roughly the exact amount that it would cost to keep Ripple running and profitable and expanding. Huh. Then you also create the Stellar network on top of the XRP ledger. You expand into not just the institutional side with the banks and that. Now you grab retail by the ball, small businesses and things like that, and you call it a day. Same tech, same creators, same speed, same exact viability, same exact infrastructure, with different names. Go look at it as an apples to apples and take out XRP Ledger and Stellar. Take out the Lumens and Ripple and look at it a little deeper. You'd realize it's the exact same company. Take out the nuts and bolts. So, yes, Carl, absolutely. You need to make it. That's why I say 8% a year. At worst, you have to find a mutual fund that can make you 8% a year or 7% so that you can double every. You need at least 12%, but minimum 8%. But I always talk about 12%. But 8% minimum. You need to have a return on investment just to stay up with the rate of inflation if you believe that that's how low it is. We could be talking upwards of 20% inflation on most things. So if you keep $1 in the bank, you need to find a way to make 12 cents on that dollar. Well, unfortunately, the savings rate, you're getting junk. And everybody talks about how we need to keep lowering rates. Well, congratulations, you have no savings rate now. And now you have to go find risk investments to try to keep up with inflation. I would rather have higher rates, higher interest, so my savings rate goes up, so I don't have to make a risky investment on a mutual fund in the emerging markets. Don't you think I'd rather keep it in the bank to make that 20% a year without having to risk my nuts on the table getting squeezed by the vice? Yeah, I would. I would like to do it like my grandparents did it. They got 50 grand in the bank. They're getting 20% a year in interest. Oh my God, they have to pay a 20% interest rate on the house. Guess what? They're getting all that money in their savings. Now what we do, hey, give us 0% and let us take out a loan. And insurance on top of the, it doesn't make any sense. The average person is done. The average person still lives on payments. They say, I can afford this because it's $200 a month. I don't care if it takes me 17 years to pay it off. But then they have this other thing and this other thing and this other thing, and this other thing, and then before they know it, they're making $75,000 a year, and they got $60,000 a year going to these stupid payments that they can't afford as a whole, but they can afford it when they put it out on a 7-year payment plan. Now, you ask me where the money's going to come in the space if everybody's cooked. It's coming from institutional drive, but not in the way people think. They're not going to come into a regulated market before it's regulated. If they wanted to trade a regulated market, they would go into the stock market, which that's why, think about it. The more regulation that comes for trading crypto, what do you see more of? ETFs in the stock market. Do you think that's by accident? Hey, we're winning in this space. No, we're losing in this space. They're driving the demand out of crypto into the stock space. Think about it. The institutions are mortgaging their company to buy into this. It's so trash. This is all backwards. And everybody's asking, why am I down 75% this year? That's why. You didn't follow the trace. You didn't follow the trace of what was actually going on. You followed what the president said or what the government said. Buy crypto. Buy crypto. Your exit liquidity. Notice Trump's tokens are 99% down. Most of them are the Melania tokens and all that. That's by design. Remember, everybody's cheering Barron Trump for making $100 million in the stock market this year, or into crypto. I wonder why. If I created XRP Future Millionaire token and lied to everybody and it went up 1,000%, and that was only because I was buying it myself, and then retail was thinking it was going up when it's not, because then when retail tries to sell, this is the caveat on most of these. When you go to sell, it can say it's up 600%, but when you go to sell, you could be down. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Nobody will tell you that. They'll just show you a screenshot saying how high something is. So, basically what I just taught you here in the last 10 minutes will take you 7 years to learn in crypto. If you do it right. But yeah. Hey, I don't like the right or left. I just think they're a prop for the central bank. So, you know, I don't care what anybody's political beliefs is. Doesn't matter to me. You guys can yell, you guys can scream to the rooftops for blue or red. I don't give a crap. You're both on the wrong side. That's why you're all cooked as a whole. We're all cooked as a whole because everybody believes in that trash. And go ask somebody walking down the street what monetary policy is. Go ask somebody walking down the street what the federal funds rate is. Go ask somebody down the street what their savings rate is. They can't answer those questions. I know because I ask people it every day and they still can't respond to me, and I live in the same house. But they don't need to know because I'm here. See? You're supposed to be the provider for somebody. If you have the knowledge and you have a family, they don't need to know what you know. You can provide for them what you know. For your immediate family, your kids, your significant other, your parents, you're cooked already because they're not going to listen. God knows I've been trying to tell them this for 20 years and they won't listen. Before I was broke. You know, now I'm in a position where I'm still kind of broke. But I have assets. You know, but money is not what everybody thinks. It's a unit of debt. I'd rather be cooked with the dollar and have a lot of different assets that can make me yield. Oh, absolutely, the central banks are, oh, now we got 50-year mortgages. You know why that is? Because nobody can afford a house. So now it's like, just look at it this way. This is a perfect example. It's whoever brought that up. Over 25 years, right? So 25 times 12, you got 300 payments. You divide that. So 300 payments, you got a $250,000 mortgage. Divided by, how many did I say? Shit. Divided by, what did I say? No, I want to do 25 first. So 300. So 250,000, whoops. 250,000 times 0.0, we'll say 6%. But I don't even know what the actual, what's the rate, what's the mortgage rate now? Not 0.6. Oh yeah, 0. But that's over time and it's compounding. But let's not act like it's compounding right now. Divided by 300. So you're looking at $833 a month. Sounds great, right? But that's before any interest. And if you're taking out a 25-year mortgage, I guarantee you're paying PMI because you don't have a 20% to put down towards it. So you might as well add on the PMI, that's a couple $100 a month. You throw in your taxes for your house because you're going to put property and all that on top of it. This is roughly if you add all of the variables, so plus on 250,000, you're averaging about $6,000 a year. $6,000 a year times 25 years divided by 300 months. So now you're up to $1,333. Plus you add another $245 a month for PMI. Now you're up to $1,578 if you're lucky. Now you add homeowners insurance on top of it, and most people can't afford it. So there's another $150 a month in real time. So now you're up to $1,700 for that, $250,000. Now we're not even talking about the interest on top of this. So, you know, now you talk about $250,000 on 600 months, right? Now you got the 6,000. What the hell was the 6,000? Oh, we got to redo the whole figure now. But it just hold on, watch this. How about this? This will let it sink in. This will let it sink in what actually happens here.
To give you an accurate estimate, we have to look at three main components: your loan term.
What the hell is it? So, when you look at this, you're talking about, look how close we were, $1,627. Where were we at? Isn't that basically right where I had it? For the principal, I didn't have interest on it, but then you talk about private insurance. We talked about a couple hundred. Property taxes, I didn't have it high enough. And then total monthly payment. So you're talking about $2,000 a month to $2,200 in this environment. Now, change this same variable.
Stretching a mortgage to 50 years is a concept currently being discussed by the administration to lower monthly payments, but it comes with a
Guys, look. So, to lower monthly payments, but it doesn't change anything. Sure, your monthly payment on the actual rate, it drops it by about $100, but look at the outcome. Total interest paid at the very bottom. Oh my God, you're saving $106 a month. Who cares? You're paying an extra $400,000 over the time of the loan. You're already paying $238,000 in interest, which is basically a one-to-one return on the cost of the house. So your $250,000 house is costing you $488,000 in 25 years. If you take it out over 50 years, your same $250,000 mortgage is going to cost you $912,000. You're buying a $912,000 house. You're paying 3/4 in interest. But people say this is good. Oh, everybody says it's a store of value. Everybody that I come across always calls crypto a store of value. I don't need to buy gold and silver. I have a store. It drives me up the wall. But you're right. For the simpleton, it sounds good. Hey, it's a store of value. Why do I need gold and silver? There's fake gold and silver. Oh, yeah. Because you haven't come across a fake exchange or a fake wallet or a fake token that claims to be the same token you're trying to say. Because that doesn't happen in this space, right? It's all apples to apples. There's never any fraud that's committed. I mean, come on. You can trust the exchanges. They're never going to take anything from you. They're always transparent. You know what's transparent? My physical gold and silver I can hold. You know why? Because I can see it. I can touch it. I can caress it. I can bury it. I can store it. I can shove it down in the ocean. I can do whatever I want with it. It's tangible. You know what's not tangible? My cryptocurrency or a 50-year mortgage. Those things aren't tangible. And the store value in crypto has cost everybody about 50%. Oh man, it drives me up a wall, because if we would have took all that money that everybody lost in crypto and just put it in silver, like I've been preaching for years with the profits, oh God. And look, a perfect example, right? Look at this. This is a perfect example going into institutions, what they would do. They easily were able to manipulate the price up of this in the stock market. And instead of buying XRP, if you bought this trade at the right time, in the stock market, you could have put a 17% gain, 13% today. That's all money that could have went into XRP. I love it. Happy Fox Super says instant. You're right. You know what's funny about that though? And I know you're joking, Happy Fox. That's the argument I get. I can hold my wallet. I have a USB. You can't make this up. I can have a Wikipedia on SanDisk, but it's better if I have it in the fucking book because nothing can be changed in the code. Come on. Forget about it. You can't speak to anybody. But I know it's sinking into my audience. You know how I know? We gone from 93 people to 120 plus because you're interested in monetary policy. Can you give yourself a round of applause? I'm very happy this morning. You just made me very happy this morning that you care about your future. Now let's take a breath in before I get too loud. In through the mouth. Out through the nose. In through the mouth. Out through the nose. In through the mouth. Out through the nose. Now you switch your vessels up. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Tricks your mind a little bit. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Now we're universally calmer. And I want to read through some of these comments. Happy Fox said institutions aren't buying because it's trash. Gaming tokens, metaverse, fintech, coins, NFTs. Welcome to the new world. My crypto is tangible. I touch my ledger all the time. It goes flu. I love it. Oh, I love it. You know it's not fake? This guy. See this guy? That's not her. Well, this biatch, so to say. Queen Elizabeth. She's tangible in this token. She may be a cunt, but she's tangible in this token. I'm allowed to say that because you're on that side of the pond. That's how you speak. So, that's tangible. This is trash. This is an IOU. Where's this at? This would be the best thing ever if it's in here. Oh. Look, guys. I own the Theta token, but it's just a replica because it has no value. Right? This has value. See? This, no matter how much you like Dogecoin, this has no value. It's a pretty looking thing, right? It's pretty. It might be plated, but it's shit. It's not tangible. I can't take that in anywhere and get money for it. However, this right here, see this? This is my son. It's on a silver ounce. Julie was smart. He's tangible. He's worth 1 ounce. He's gone up 300% since Julie gave me it. He is tangible. No matter how high Theta goes, this token doesn't change except if some idiot wants to pay more for it because they're more experienced with it. This is a unit of debt. You used to be able to redeem this for gold. And then the gold standard. That's what gave this value. You would turn this in so that you wouldn't have to have gold and silver. Well, travel around with gold, let's just say for this scenario. You would have that. And then you would turn that in. Your piece of paper if you wanted to redeem it. Then the US came along and said it's illegal to hold gold. And the moment that they had everybody turn their gold in, which they never collected it was all a farce. Even the pictures you see are all fake. Only an idiot would have turned their gold in back then. And you know that because The wealthy people in this country all kept their gold, and it's known. How did the Kennedys get rich? They didn't turn their gold in. How do all these families advance and that are now on the political front? They didn't turn their gold in eons ago. Once the people turned their gold in and they gave them the money for it, they doubled the price of gold once they did it, cutting your purchasing power in half. So anybody who kept their gold, overnight, it doubled. Anybody who turned it in, their wealth cut in half, even though they had the IOU. Because there's no gold standard. So you couldn't redeem it again for that gold that just went up by double. So you want to trust this government to run the crypto space and you want to go in balls deep with regulation, by all means, you do what you got to do. But you better have a damn plan in 2026. A lot different than we had in 2021. I've always given the timeline at 2028 to 32 is a nightmare. It could be starting sooner with all of this regulation. I didn't see the Clarity Act in 21. But if it passes in 26, they've cut your hands off. If they pass the biometrics part of it, they cut your brain out. You can trade. You can get a lobotomy and you can trade your soul for all of this, but you know, this is the period where we have to understand, like, what's going to keep us afloat? Like, do we have to work 17 jobs? Or can we find a rate of return that's going to keep up? That is a question. Through eons of time, the only way I could answer that is buy your gold and silver. And I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about in 2021 when it was at $19 or 22, I should say, when I pushed it the hardest when I started silver stacking. When we had the big collapse. Now silver's up 7.2% today. If you just thought it was going to die, you haven't watched this yet. You know? And it's like, while we watch that happen, we continue to watch. If you were just invested in, you know, I saw a $15,000 basketball player card the other day. Do you think I can trade the piece of cardboard for gold? Somebody was dumb enough to trade the gold for your card, maybe. But that's just, again, that baseball card is no different than the monetary value that we put on a piece of paper. That's only valuable as valuable as somebody else is willing to give you money for. In the future, all that stuff is going to be worthless. Mark my words, most of that's going to be worthless. Once you go digital, you can put that into a digital archive. 15 years from now, most people will never have anything in their hand of paper. Just calling it for what it is. So if you're a collector, maybe they put some kind of premium on it. But more than likely, they're going to make it illegal. Remember, they're already starting with plastic. Everybody, hey, get rid of the plastic. It saves the animals. That's cute. It's cute. Because now you don't have a plastic bag, but you have the plastic inside the cereal bag, inside the paper box. Cute, right? You have your pop. That's all plastic, but you can't have plastic at the checkout after all. It's cute. Keeps the simpleton in line. That's all they're trying to do. They try to keep us in line. That's a very big thing too. That's why a lot of people say, Tom, if the gold-silver ratio ever comes back to where you want it to be, do you think they'll actually take your silver and give you gold? Absolutely. The pawn shop would bend over backwards if you brought them right now silver to exchange for gold. They would shake your hand. Probably. Say, oh my God, what the hell's wrong with this guy? They have such a small hole. They don't have a lot of back and forth with silver right now. That you'd probably be their best friend if you walked in there and said, hey, I'm going to give you 70. Well, you'd probably have to go, I'm going to give you 81 ounces of silver right now. No, not 81. What am I talking about? You would have to go in there and go, I'm going to give you 60 ounces of silver and I want an ounce of gold. I know it's 56.5 to 1, but here's 5 ounces of silver for your trouble. Oh, wait a minute. You want 65 ounces to give me that ounce of gold? Okay. After all, I was buying it for 110 to 1. No, they're not going to do 65 at this. I'm just saying an example. CJ2 Pilot, thanks for being in town for 2+ years with the XB589 Moon Badge and sharing that. Sean Crothers, welcome him, a main man from Maine, and a very trusted mod. Been around forever. So much. Says 50-year mortgage are the worst financial idea since Trump lowered the price of drugs by up to 600%. You do the math. Yeah. There's a lot that can go into that, too. There's been a lot of stuff that is not exactly what it appears to be, huh, Sean? You understand. I mean, look at the trade from yesterday. How many people went out? Even from a paper standpoint, how many people even went out and bought the iSilver Trust when it was down yesterday at 71 or 70? And then they could have sold it today for 5 to 7%. Nobody. How many people went out and bought miners last night when they were way down for at least the retest up today, especially the silver? Nobody. How many of my audience went out and bought yesterday when Dolly Varden was down at 450 and Silver Corp was down at almost 820? Did anybody even pay attention to those two, or did you? Because that could have been your quick swing trade for the day. You could have made 5 to 7% right there, and you could already be out before noon. As to what we're waiting for crypto, hey, we're up 1.5%. Hey, we gained 1.6% in Bitcoin, which has already come down from over 89,000. These are the days. These are the days. I need to tell you when to buy. I talk about it every single day. What I'm doing. I talked about when to buy Dolly Varden. I was just asking a question because it had such a big drop. But I talked about Dolly Varden when it went back under. When I bought back. And I talked about the expansion I put into Dolly Varden. I've talked about all of these for years. And the crypto. I talked about how when Dolly Varden came down here, I bought. Well, I sold up here, bought down here. And then during this consolidation, I bought more. Even though I bought some here, I bought more here. Because of what happened with their acquisitions. Now, could this all be a fake out and come way back down? It absolutely could. But that's your line in the sand. If it comes back and breaks that, well, then you see this whole buying opportunity because then you could have a flush. You know? Now, if you bought this yesterday, was your plan a quick trade? Are you trying to buy it for long term? Like, do you have belief that the miners are just getting started? Because I personally believe mid to late 2026, no matter what kind of consolidation might happen from here, I still think we have a huge expansion. Huge expansion. A lot of people did buy Dolly Varden. Look at that. Holy crap. Scott, that's a great pickup. You picked up 100 ounces, and just from the appreciation from the drop yesterday, I mean, you're doing pretty good today. LAS is back under $4. Very happy to see this. I hope it continues down. I want that to play down so bad. You guys know I want that to play down. That's going to be a big, strong holding of mine going into some point in the next year if it does what it needs to do. And just like oil, I'm not jumping the gun here. I'm watching Northern Oil and Gas as it continues to slowly treat down. I'm not jumping the gun with these companies because right now the USA has one thing to hold their hat on, the lowering price of oil. Eventually they're not going to be able to do that. Carl says, and thanks for being in town zone for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. We look at what we have to pay now. That is the mentality, not what it costs. What it costs. Yep, that's true. That is true, Carl. Should do more on mining stocks, commodities. I've done a ton. I did a lot on mining stocks and commodities. The only reason I do a lot of it during the lives. The only reason that I don't push them harder now is because, let's face it, when I bought and was telling the audience to buy Barrett Gold, which is gold.com, that was at 14, 15. And then we did buy a little bit more when it had that big drop to 18 and 20, I believe. But you're talking about a completely different area. B2 Gold was in the $2-ish range, $2 to $3. Yeah, there was a minor purchase at like 3 something just because it was ready to surge. And then like Hekla, I was telling people to buy at $4.50, $4.30. We had a report come out earlier in the year where they crushed earnings and it went down 10% after earnings. And I'm like, I can't get enough of this. So it's a lot different me talking about Hekla at $19.76 per share as opposed to $4.50 or under. Just like Pan America Silver is 18 to 22. It's a lot harder for me to tell you to buy it at 53. First Majestic was at $4. It's hard to tell you to buy it at 17. Fortuna was at 250, 3, 4. Now it's at 10. Silver Corp was at like 5. It's at almost 9. Dolly Varden was at 350, so that's closer. But it's also come up a lot. Those last two were part of my plan once I accumulated the rest. So it's a lot harder for me to tell you to buy it now when some of my holdings are up 400% this year. Hekla's up from $4 range to 20. That's a huge move. Even looking at Pan America at 53, it still makes me go, oh my God. We had a big drop yesterday, and look, today we're at 53. Oil stock suggestions, I keep them on the board. I haven't bought anything yet. My number one go-to is North Oil and Gas. When it's the time, when I feel like I need to buy it. And I'm not sure yet. I feel like we would be jumping the gun just because of the current system. But I could also make the argument here that we put in a little reversal, and this could be an inverted hammer possibly. I'm just hopeful that this is actually a bearish consolidation just because of what's going on, and the U.S. is going to drop it a little bit more because they want to give Foster the illusion. But I'm no dummy. I know we're getting close. I know we're getting close. The weekly is what gives me hope that it can continue to break down. The monthly, however, we've never really seen between gold, the ratio between oil and gold at the ratio it is right now. So black gold, which is oil, is the next commodity up when the time is right. It helps out tremendously for these mining companies. It keeps their costs down the cheaper oil is. So that's just another thing on earnings coming next year. Whenever they decide to take this out of the ground, a lot of these silver and oil company or gold companies, the miners, are choosing to keep their silver in the ground in 24 and 25. Some are starting to take it out now when the price went as parabolic as now. But they didn't want to take the silver out of the ground at 25, 30, 40, and even 50 or 60. You know, they didn't want to take the gold out of the ground at 2, 3, 3,500, 4,000 on most estimates. So now if they're starting to take it out now, look at the difference in price. That gold and silver stays there. Samsung didn't pay $69 an ounce from that Mexican mine when it was at 57 for no reason, and we talked about it. And now that's already gone by the wayside. They're trying to get all they can because their new batteries, especially these new EV batteries, those EV batteries take like a kilo of silver per that they're talking about. Like, that's a big deal. So Elon Musk wasn't talking about, oh, it's bad that the price is going up. He couldn't care less. He's got plenty. He'll just put that on the overage on the cost of the vehicle. He's talking about how hard it is to get the silver in the first place. Now, what they did in the USA, which I vehemently hate, is they'd start these cobalt plants and the mining of cobalt. The single most toxic subsidy basically on the planet to take out from under the ground. You don't want to take cobalt. But what are the batteries made of? If you don't know what I'm talking about, take a deep dive. And then everybody talks about, oh, the world's safer because of the carbon emissions. Guys, these companies buy carbon credit so they can pollute as much as they want. There's no rules for these companies if they have the money. There's no carbon restriction. It's called a carbon tax, and you buy the tax credits. The general public has no idea what that even means, and that's our own. The only excuse you have for not knowing is your own excuse. You have to try to figure it out. I try to teach it every day, but you see as my audience goes down by 20%, 30% while I talk about some of this stuff. 2023 silver was at $21.30 USD. That's when I listened to Tom and bought silver. Glad I did. Thanks, Tom. You are welcome, Elmer. And I know we're about done with this live. I get it. So I can go into like maybe into the playlist of what you guys should watch now. Don't judge me on what we're doing now. Judge me on our past. Go back and watch the midday market reports when we talk about the commodity stocks, gold and silver. Go back to the silver stacking series. That's all the way back from 2 years ago when I was trying to get everybody on board. And I did what I had to do until we got into the bitter despair. And it was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable series. I loved every minute of it. You know, and I might do more of it in the future because I said that in the future I would do more of the series. I would continue the silver stacking series to see where we're at now. this is us now versus where we were at. And I think those would be phenomenal videos to show. Because you can just go back here
Is
and
an
see
excellent conductor of electricity.
This is where I tried to teach on why silver was going to go up.
And now, real quick, I know it's already been a very long update.
Let's see. I wish I could see that. Well, I could go back. Let's see. See, why gold and silver are true stores of value. Silver Stepping episode number 3, comparing with Bitcoin and XRP. And I bitched about it then. Over and over. Talked about what was better, silver and gold. Oh, this was one of my favorite things I ever did on YouTube. Yeah, it didn't get a lot of views, as you can see, but I also have a lot bigger audience now, so it might be more well received.
Welcome in, everybody, and good afternoon.
And if you wonder the difference in how I look, I think I look a lot better now than then. No disrespect to myself. But look at these prices. Look where silver was at. Look where Fortuna was at. And we talked about B2 Gold, that we had to sell it out at towards the end of the series. And we were going to buy it at $2.21 or $2.22. It went down to $2.21 was the low in the cycle after. And I just like to sometimes go back and look at the pricing. So gold was at $1,834. Silver was at $21.57. Unbelievable. You know, it's the same. Crude oil was at $78.60 a barrel. Crude oil today is at $77, or what is it? Not 77, I'm sorry. $58 a barrel. You're down 20% if you would have went the oil route. You got to do it in segments. That doesn't rhyme. I mean, it doesn't do the exact same thing, but history always repeats itself, but in a rhyming way. Not the exact way that it did it last time. These have been some of, in my whole career of trading in commodities, in mining stocks, I made the single most profitability I've ever made in mining stocks this year. And I put the most capital I ever had because of the crypto rally from December to January. When I sold 75%, I flipped into miners to the tune of like $60,000 going, from January going through April. And that has made more than what I invested in this calendar year. So you talk about understanding the monetary stuff. It's not as hard as you think it is. It's only hard because we listen to the noise. If I'd have kept all that money in crypto instead, that $60,000 would have turned into, well, let's take a look. On average, everything is down about 40%. Even XRP is down about 45% right now. So you take $60,000. What is that? Divided by 0.4? No. Wait a minute. Times 0.4. Oh, I'm doing something wrong. I'll put divided by 0. Times 0.4. I mean, you're talking about $24,000 minimum is gone out of that. 24 grand you lost. Now 60,000 on an average return on my miners, it's given an average return. I think it's 1 point. Well, we'll just say it's 150%. No, it's not. It's not 150. It's like 125 from what I could see. Times 1.25. You're talking about 75. Well, no, it's not that high, though. Because it's all about the weight. And you got to take off what you put in for the move up. And it's not that much. I'm just trying to show you basic fundamentals here, how we flip from one side. But now, as crypto now is significantly starting to get to that undervalued side, now you start to look more at that as well. You start to look at oil for the same philosophy we use for gold. So I can just look at my performance minus today. So my return year to date. Okay, so I didn't quite put 60. I put, how much did I put in? So it's up 114.6%. But that's not counting today, and it's up 56,681. So minus 114%. So 56,681. But that's not counting today. It's up today. And then you divide that by, what is that? I don't fucking know. 117%, 1.17. So I put in about 51,000. No, it's a little bit higher than that. It'd be about, looking at this. Yeah. That's about right. It's about 50 something thousand. So 50 something thousand. That's right. And you talk about a rate of return of 1.25, not divided by, but times 1.25. What was that? 50. No, we said 51. Sorry. Yeah, that's about. No, that's about right. It's not 1.25. It's 1.14. That's the problem, because it hasn't updated. 1.14. That's pretty damn close. That's pretty close. What I flipped from crypto this year into miners. So anyhow, you know, and now what have I been talking about here the last part of this year? Okay, we have an opportunity possibly. So I didn't take all my money out of crypto, but I have built it back up a lot. You know, I've been able to build it back up over these swing trades, over the run from October 10th is really what helped my portfolio bounce back up. What happened on October 10th, we were liquid except for what we had left of XRP, which is the 10,000 we'll never sell. It's just the way it goes unless we were to have a full-blown breakdown. So, you know, it's, yeah, XRP is looking great right now in comparison to what it's looked like. I'm optimistic that we're going into wave 4. I'm very optimistic. I know I have to leave, but I'm very optimistic. We back tested perfectly. We're doing everything we need to do. We've come over that, but we talked about that line right there, so we don't put in a right shoulder. So now we just need to break up and invalidate that and go up to the 4 hourly at the 200-day. And it makes perfect sense because that would bring us back here. I see a triple bottom almost here too. Shoulder, head, shoulder within a longer shoulder, head, shoulder. This looks like a triple bottom here, like an inverse triple bottom. So we'll see if this pans out. But yes, I'm very optimistic. For anybody who decided to stay around, I have banned. I don't have SHX because it's too expensive on Kraken and I don't like the volatility. So for now, I'm going to take it off the page. In my heart, I have Linnea. I have Shiba. I have Algo. I have XRP, XLM, XDC. But XDC, you know, obviously, watch the formation. I have HBAR. I don't have Axelar. I gave it up, as I talked about yesterday. I have XRP Healthcare. I have VeChain on Crypto.com, and I have Epic on Crypto.com. So, yeah, I still have a wide variety of tokens. But I'll contract them if I have to. Not Epic. Likely not VeChain, because on Crypto.com it's too expensive. But anything on Kraken, I pay for the $4.99 a month or whatever. You get $10,000 a month. But even if you're above the $10,000, when you trade on there, the fees are minimal. Like I've figured it out. Works well. I hope Shiba Queenie, the rug pulling creator. Shiba is actually, believe it or not, it's actually formed as an ISO, but when they do the privacy update next year, you know, it can technically be considered a type of privacy token. I know MQT knows about this. He's probably the only person I've come across that actually understands that, to be honest with you. Bearded Viking, thank you for being here for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. We give our well wishes and prayers, and we pray for Mighty Marcus as he continues to fight the good fight. Continues to fight the good fight. IPT Impact Silver Mining Stock. Excellent suggestion. I need to look that up. I love when somebody gives me a silver. Impact Silver Corp, I believe, is right here. Now that doesn't look like it's on the general stock market. So this would probably be an OTC company, maybe. Where'd I see a BrEAK silver? That's the Canadian stock market, it looks like. Holy shit. That's an inverse pattern playing out as we speak. Cup and handle up here. 66 cents. Oh, where were you at 14 cents? No, I'm kidding. It's actually breaking out of the weekly, but it's pushed up a lot. I'm going to assume they don't have good earnings yet. Yeah, they're small still. This is kind of like buying a junior minor right here, so to say. Queenie is the Shiba creator. I know this for a fact. She was interviewed in the first Shiba AMA and my dad, the creator, takes first AMA video. She is a thief. You say so, Happy Fox, but you don't know anything more than they want you to know. And that's the truth. You may have seen the first video, but you've seen the first thing they wanted you to see. I only go by what I see in the roadmap, friend. I couldn't give a rat's ass about these creators or somebody who rug pulled the community and all this other stuff. I just go through what I see in the technology and what I see in what's coming for the expansion in 2026 and the fact of the upgrade. Now, I don't feel confident in any of this and then the long term. Even in the short term, it might not be a bunch of confidence. Omar. Oh, on the weekly, you said to check that out. But yeah, you have more information on that than I do, my friend. Happy Fox. You definitely do. Let's see. What was that again? Whose did I forget? I had somebody. I wanted to. I guess I hit all the comments. But I gotta go after this. I definitely gotta go. I gotta go eat my protein. I'm getting a little angry because I haven't ate since 8 p.m. last night. I worked out today, but I don't eat for 16 hours a day. I do the intermittent fasting every single day for the last like almost over 3 years now. But yeah, it's breaking out on the weekly. Just got to make sure that this isn't a double top here. And then it needs the back test again, but it's already come through. It's overbought in the weekly, no doubt, but the monthly pushing back up. I mean, it looks like it's breaking out to try to come up to this cup, which could bring you all the way up to the top eventually, but it looks like it's trying to seek out this area. Looks like there's definitely some room to move there. Of course, you've lost on you. We always lose on things when we buy at the wrong time. That's why I always say it's timing the market, not time in market. That's why. Everybody's lost. Everybody who invested this year has lost even in crypto for the most part. And I do have my, hey, I'm going to sell out if this goes this way. And it's if this structure breaks down. And then I'm just going to be liquid. And we'll see what happens. I mean, I'll keep the XRP that I have. But most of it would go liquid outside of what I've talked about. So we're not there yet. We're still trying to see if we do get an expansion wave. But every single time we push up, I can tell you for a fact right now, it keeps doing the exact same thing. Hooks us in the morning. Gives us a little bit of viability. And then lately it's been dumping out. We're hopeful that we do this proper and we don't dump out all at once. Otherwise, XRP will find itself under $1 next year if it plays out to the down. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's the truth. And I have stop loss on every single thing, so I don't even have to do anything. So hopefully they would fill, but I watch it in real time. So y'all know where I bought. You all know where that started around that bottom. If that is invalidated in any way, they all get knocked off one by one. And some of them I just won't buy anymore because of volatility. Like SHX is out the game plan because volatility is too high. I try to stick to ones that have a lot of capital and a lot of trading. Shiba down 70% for, yeah, that's unfortunately the hard truth on most of these. If you bought them at the tops of these, every single thing, oh, you should see some of them. Some people are down 95% in some of these tokens, and they're hoping for an alt season like that would help. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. If I was on here, you know, I wouldn't be buying anything in the moment. Like I said, the only reason I haven't sold out of some of it is because it was from the previous drop. But other than that, I haven't done anything since. Like, the only thing I've done is dumped out of things like SHX after its move up. And with all of its volatility, I've stayed aside. There's a few things I won't buy back. Like Axel, I sold out after its little pump up because I said I don't trust it anymore after what happened with Circle. So there's a lot of things that I don't trust anymore. And in the space, as I sell things off, let's just say H-bar and XLM and all these reversed. Once I sell off both of those, they both don't come back. So then it becomes a decision, do I own XLM or H-bar? And I put all of those tokens in. If this comes back down, Algo would likely be an even bigger hold if this falls farther after the sale and rebuy. Like, that's where I'm at right now. There's going to be things that get cut off at the arm. Because, and again, I don't know if there's even any reason to hold XLM and XDC in this scenario. I would probably cut off XLM and H-bar and just put it all into XDC on this next move. I'm not even joking. That's where we're at right now. If I got to cut everything off again, when I rebuild it, it's going to be in a more unified fashion. I don't need to buy silver. I've already bought silver when it was way, way cheaper than it is now. I've done everything I need to do with silver and gold. This is my phase that I watch the commodities and I trade the stocks now, the miners. Next will be oil. So, but we'll see how this pans out. We're back testing right now the move that we just had up. Expect extreme volatility. You know with XRP, if it fails and it doesn't hold the support structure, it's a very big problem. You know, Bitcoin, same scenario. XRP right now, it seems to be down around $1.77. Don't really want it to keep coming back down there without a higher retest. Right now, however, back below this line I drew, which could make this a head and shoulders in the micro. So, you know, if you're playing this market, you better be damn sure what you're playing it for. Yeah. I don't disagree with you what you're stating. I just you know, it's different things. Different strokes for different folks, as they say. And I don't hate Axel. Nobody says when it drops down, if it were to drop down, that I wouldn't be interested again. I need to see what it does now after Circle's acquisition and basically just stealing over all of everything that was good and leaving it as a token now to basically get rewards and stuff for the community. Like, that doesn't sit well with me. Don't have 500 ounces of silver, need more. I don't. I think you're a little low. I've been doing this for years. Oh, you don't have it, unless you're saying you don't have 500. Let's see. Anyone have any good oil stock suggestions? Only 2 of them right now to watch. But Murphy's has started to be on the uptick here, and if we're reversing out, I like Murphy's, but not. I firmly believe I should have. No, I shouldn't have, because the silver miners did better. But I had a decision down here at 22, if you guys remember, to buy this or go deeper into miners. Back in April, and then in this August, September, and we had a drop. And I remember it was over here the first time, and it came down. And instead of buying in here, I decided to go deeper in miners in this area, which I'm glad I did. But I wish I had put some exposure there. Now, North Oil and Gas is my #1 target. It's more Americanized. And if they do some strange stuff in America. So. Let's see. I'm holding the same 5 I chose long ago. XRP, XLM, XTC, H-bar, quant, adding if we get further drops. Just my. I don't hate either of those. All 5 of those are beautiful. Oh, you're saying you need at least 500 ounces. That makes sense. But no, I'm not saying that you can never have enough. But I just had a buying strategy and I stuck to it. Just like with crypto. Just like with the miners. Just like with oil, just like with the emerging markets, I have a plan and I stick to it and I don't go from the plan. Every time I go away from the plan, I screw it up. So I like to stay to the plan. Then I don't have to do anything. I just do what it tells me to do on paper. I still fear that a lot of people are going to get in the miners. And like yesterday, they'll get in at some point. Why does everybody keep asking me about Monad? What's the reason why? Why does in this live, 4 people have asked that question. Why? That's not just coincidence. That means somebody's talking about this. Why? Why is everybody asking me about my thoughts on Monad? I'm just curious. Because that's the 4th different person. No, it's not bots. These are real people. These aren't bot comments. These are from people who are actually part of the community. That's why I asked. It's new. So who's talking about it though? I understand it's new, but you wouldn't know about it, all 4 of you, if some influencer wasn't talking about it. Who's talking about it? That's my question. Who's talking about it? Can somebody please tell me which influencer is telling you to buy this? Because a lot of people, I understand it was launched on Coinbase, but none of you would know about it unless somebody talked about it. The majority, at least. Read the Monad white paper. Come on, guys. You know the drill when scouting new projects. Yes, I agree with that, but I want to know who's talking about it. Who enlightened you about this token that's dropped 56% now in a matter of what? Since November. Who enlightened you about this token that's dropped 57% in a month? Okay, so Coinbase is pushing it hard. But there has to be an influencer. These things don't just get talked about for no reason. I've heard of Monad, but not in a token regard. It has to do with something else if you believe in philosophy. That's why I want to know who said it, Elmer. You can usually come up with a very small list of the people who preach these kind of tokens. I always like to know when somebody asks me about these tokens, like who actually preaches it. Because notice, I've never talked about it. So this came from 1.8. Oh, that's just where this is at. This just came out on this exchange. So everybody said it's on Coinbase, so you'd probably get the biggest history. I mean, that doesn't look like anything I want right now. Jake, it's the new store of value. Jake Cle. Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know who's talking about it. I was just asking a question, but I'm going to go before I get myself in trouble. I wouldn't touch that with somebody else's 10-foot pole. I don't know what it is, for one. And 2, this market's way too volatile to be pushing into something Coinbase. If Coinbase is the one telling you to buy it, I certainly wouldn't buy it. Especially, I mean, it's down 60%, so I guess to each their own. Nobody wants to tell me what channel. That's okay. Here, I'll do it myself. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. The typical fudsters who get paid to promote tokens. Yeah, okay. Well, I wouldn't touch this if you paid me to touch it. I seen all I need to know. Have a good day, everybody. Stay away from tokens that the choir preaches because they're all getting paid for it. So, super bullish or not, stick away from it unless someone's paying you to do it, right? We'll continue to watch this market. I'm happy. I'm sad. I'm in between. We don't know. I just want it to take a direction so that we can go from there. I want it to take an identity pull. We need an identification. That we need a tug. We need something. But I'll tell you, if Bitcoin breaks this uptrend, it's at least giving us something. We come below 87,900. We could be starting for that bearish trajectory here. So be safe, everybody. Be wise and don't spend money that you're not sure what you're doing with. That's all I can say. I'm interested in IOTA. I just can't buy it anywhere on my tier 1 exchanges. So no point for me to harp on it too much.